to you. I wonder, the Republicans are good at false equivalencies. And one of the arguments they're making today is, well, if we have to get rid of a member who advocates violence against Democrats, like executing former President Obama and Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi, then we're going to hold the Democrats to the same standard. Can you confirm that that's a standard Democrats would be happy to live with?
First of all, any Democrat is known to peddle conspiracy theories, to undermine the integrity of our democracy, to consider that the tragedy of Sandy Hook and Parkland were a hoax and not real, given the pain and the suffering of the families and the communities. Any Democrat who did that, believe you me, as Speaker indicated earlier, we'd be the first to do exactly what we're doing today with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I know for myself, I never have any expectations from today's Republican Party, but what do you expect, or what's the best case scenario today?
Well, I hope and expect that some Republicans would be true to their democracy, be true to making sure that one who does not espouse violence is not seated on these committees. Let me tell you, Leader McCarthy, he had an opportunity to make sure that he did what he did with Steve King as it relates to his white supremacist behavior and attitudes. I believe in many respects that the Republicans acted in a cowardice manner by not stepping up and doing the right thing. They should have done it. If they didn't, then we certainly have to do it ourselves. I hope Republicans join us.
As the Congresswoman speaks of Kevin McCarthy appears. We're going to listen in, and then my friend Claire McCaskill has a question for you on the other side. If we could just ask you to stand by for a couple minutes with us.
They rushed impeachments through without a shred of due process, just like today. Reducing this tool from the highest constitutional remedy to just another opportunity to fundraise and go on TV. And now they are declaring the majority has veto power over the minority's members' selections for committee. Now, we have reviewed this with the parliamentarian. Never before in the history of this House has the majority abused its power in this way. Never. In the entire history of this House have you ever abused the power in this way. But it's clear Speaker Pelosi's caucus thinks differently. They're blinded by partisanship and politics. And it's the American people who will suffer the most because of it. As for the member in question, let me be very clear. Representative Greene's past comments and posts as a private citizen do not represent the values of my party. As a Republican, as a conservative, as an American, I condemn those views unequivocally. I condemned them when they first surfaced, and I condemn them today. This House overwhelmingly voted to condemn the dangerous lies of QAnon last Congress and continue to do so. I made this clear when I met with Representative Greene. I also made clear that we as members have a responsibility to hold ourselves to a higher standard. She acknowledged this during our conversation and apologized for her past comments. I will hold her to her words and her actions moving forward. But because these comments...
We're going to come out of that because most of it is not true. Most of what Kevin McCarthy is saying, while he appears to believe it as it comes out of his mouth, is not true. Marjorie Taylor Greene's committee appointments are not in the air and up for a vote today because of Democrats. In the air and up for a vote today because Kevin McCarthy can't clean his own house. He allowed 61 of his colleagues to vote against Liz Cheney's leadership post because she had the audacity to call an insurrection incited by Donald Trump an insurrection inspired by and incited by Donald Trump. So what you're watching right now isn't true. And I wonder, Congresswoman, how do we get back to, or can we ever get back to real debates between Democrats and Republicans when the Republicans don't start at a baseline of true and honest disagreement?
Listening to Kevin McCarthy, it's almost like listening to Donald Trump. The level of hypocrisy in what he just said is shocking, but it shouldn't be shocking. when you see what he has said about QAnon, and then he stands up there and says that this is an abuse of power, well, come on. He did not support the impeachment of someone who has abused power to the 10th degree in this country. He has not supported even the fact that Joe Biden won the election. And so Kevin McCarthy needs to stop it. He needs to do exactly what Democrats are doing. We gave him a chance to do it, and he did not. This woman should not be serving on the Education and Labor Committee, where she thought that the killing of children at Sandy Hook and Parkland was a hoax and was a conspiracy theory. So she should not be there, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Congresswoman, this is Claire McCaskill. Let me ask you, first, I was startled, especially when Kevin McCarthy just said she had apologized. She has not apologized. In fact, she has said over and over again that she will not apologize for saying it would be a good thing to put a bullet in Nancy Pelosi's head. Now, but my question to you is this secret ballot thing on Liz Cheney. I would like you just to hazard a guess. If the vote today was secret, how many of that Republican caucus would want to, in fact, remove her from these committees? If they could do it without fear of Donald Trump or the QAnon base in their party coming after them, how many of them would vote to do the right thing as long as they didn't have to own it?
Well, that's hard to say because in many ways they have drank the Kool-Aid. You know, they somehow are spineless and are acting in a cowardice way. And so I don't know how many of them, if they didn't feel that they would reap the havoc of a Donald Trump or any backlash, I don't know how many of them would actually come forward and do the right thing, Claire. This is something that is very serious. So many of them believe this stuff. I mean, when you look at the votes in terms of the certification of the Electoral College, look at it. In the House, what was it, about 140 members voted not to certify Joe Biden as president? So I'm not sure that they haven't internalized all of this madness and the Trump values of white supremacism and of actually lying about realities that are taking place in our country. So I'm not sure that I could count on them to step up and do the right thing.
Congresswoman, I want to ask you one quick question about news that broke this afternoon. Would you like to see Donald Trump testify in the Senate impeachment trial?
He absolutely should testify, and he can't get away with this. No one is above the law, and for him to not testify, once again, I think it sends a signal, hopefully, to members of the Senate that he should be convicted. You know, he has told so many lies on and off the record. He should show up and defend his case if he, in fact, believes that he should not be convicted. So, yes, he should be, actually, he should be subpoenaed to testify if they could do that under the impeachment rules.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee, thank you so much for answering our questions and spending some time with us today. The rest of